Video on how to make a scatter graph in Excel using the World Bank data. So I'm going to choose my two variables here. Let's say my first one might be prevalence of HIV. And you'll see it takes me to the page with all the data and a graph and so on. There's the data. This is where I'd press to map it. That's a different part of the assignment. That's not what I'm showing in this video, but it is something you need to be able to use as well. Right now I want to download the data in Excel format. So I just click that and you see it's done it. And then I go back and I choose a different variable. So maybe I will choose mortality rate under 5. And again, there's the graph that's mappable. And to get the data in Excel format, I click here and down it comes. Now, what I now have are two Excel spreadsheets with data in them. And you'll see here it's got a column, a section saying data, metadata countries, and metadata indicators. The metadata indicators is useful because it's the only place that tells you what that data is. That title does nothing for me. This is the prevalence of HIV one. So I can click on data, and you'll see it's got lots of data here, or lots of years, a lot of it with no data in it, and some of the more recent years with data. Well, HIV hasn't been around that long, so I guess that's why I didn't have any before that. And I'm going to click on everything except the most recent year, everything except 2018. I'm going to select. So right now I've held the shift key down. I'm going to click on that and then right click, delete. And I'm down to just the country and the 2018 data. It only says 2018. I want to make sure that I put in what that was. That was the HIV percentage. So I'm going to put that in there. HIV percent 2018. Then I'm going to go to my other database and I'm going to get the 2018 data. I don't need to worry about the order of the countries because they're the same countries in the same order. So I'm going to hit copy there. I'm going to go back to the other database and I'm going to click on column C and paste it. So now all of those things should be matching up. You know, Afghanistan is at 0.1 and 62.3. Once again, I've got to take this as the column heading and type in mortality rate under 5. And then finally, I want to delete these top 3 rows. So again, I just select them, right click, delete. Now this is ready for graphing. If I select those 2 columns and go to insert, it gives me a bunch of graphing options here. So I want a scatter graph, and there it is. Now, the instructions, the printed instructions, give you some details on how to fix up various elements of that. It all comes from the chart design menu and then add chart element. I'm not going to do this in this short video. This is where you would change the axis titles, the chart title. You don't need a legend for this, but that sort of thing. Of interest here is the trend line. You can either choose a linear, which means straight line, trend line, or an exponential. What I might recommend is go to more trend line options, where you can choose from even a greater set. You can go logarithmic, polynomial, power, depending on your comfort with math. I'll let you decide that. For now, I'll keep it simple, leave it linear. And the other thing I want to point out is down at the bottom here, display R² value on chart. The R² value is the square of the correlation coefficient. So you see here it's 0.0788. The square root of that is about 0.25, something like that, 0.25, 0.3. And as you may recall, with a square root, it can be plus or minus. So positive 0.25 or negative 0.25 would both give me, if you square them, would give me a number about that. So it's up to you to figure out from the slope of the graph whether it's positive or negative, and the calculator will tell you the square root of that. After that, you're done. All you have to do is make sure you fix up the titles for the axes and the overall title.